What if I told you that Google Ads prefers certain types of brands over other brands? Some of you might hear this and start blaming the Google Ads algorithm for how partial it is and how it's got a grudge against your brand, it doesn't want you to win, etc., etc. But all you can really do is understand the game and play the game the right way, because I guarantee you, if you know how to get the Google Ads algorithm on your side, not only are you going to be able to scale your e-commerce brand with ease, but you're going to also be much more profitable than any of the other ad platforms you currently have running for your brand. And in this video, I want to help your e-commerce brand game better by telling you exactly the types of brands Google Ads prefers. Those specifically that consistently rank in the front week over week, month over month, regardless of how many new competitors enter the market. Now, before we get into actually gaming the system and getting the algorithm on your side, you need to understand what Google actually wants. And Google really only wants three major things. Number one, it wants a brand that takes care of its users. Number two, it wants a brand that takes the Google Ads rules and policies seriously. Number three, it wants a brand that puts in effort to improve from every aspect. Now, this directly relates to your brand in terms of things like the landing page experience, in terms of the things like the product feed, etc., which we're going to go over very shortly. But let's start off with the landing page experience first. This is not about the speed. A lot of e-commerce brand owners I speak with tell me that their website is already the fastest and it doesn't need work, etc. It goes beyond just the speed. There's things like the colors your users want to see, the verbiage based around your ideal audience, so the sentences you have, the words you're using, is it talking in a specific slang language which your audience can relate to, etc. In addition, it's also trust-inducing factors like having trust badges, like having different kinds of timers, or just whatever certain things you have on your landing page which helps a user want to trust more, including reviews. But also, it needs to have a fast and sleek design. I see so many good brands struggle just because their landing page experience, although it's good in general, it's not what the user wants to see. So that means if you're, for example, targeting a very gothic niche where they prefer to see all black colors, all dark, because that's what the niche is, but then you have a very beautifully designed white background website with a lot of fancy colors, red, blue, that are very mild and just kind of induce care and whatnot, that's not going to work for a gothic niche, because those people are in a completely different niche. They're used to seeing different things. They like different things. You cannot convert one to the other. You need to understand this when approaching the website side of things. But now this brings us to the most important part of all, which is the product feed. Now, product feed, it's more than just having an image thrown up. It's more than just having a product title and a product price thrown up. You have to go further and deeper into the funnel and have all of the necessary information filled out as much as you can. Things such as all key identifiers, things such as the Google product category, any other custom labels, anything that can help the algorithm specifically find your ideal audience, and that too quickly, is going to help with targeting side of things. But in addition, if you don't have a good product image which stands out and a product title which is the opposite of your competitors, it's just not going to work. Because keep in mind, you don't just have a product image and a product title just to make your product look good. You also have it so the click-through rates can be high. When your click-through rates, when the CTR is high, what happens is your average cost per link click automatically starts to go down, because now you're getting more and more people for the same amount of money as you would originally be spending. And this is ideal and exactly what you want, because now it's making it easier for you to spend more money and get more returns profitably. When I say this, a lot of e-commerce brand owners think they need to go out, do some fancy photography, get some nice photos taken. You can do that, but the easiest way to go about this is just to look at your competitors. The majority of them have plain white background images. You can do a simple lifestyle image with a lifestyle background, and that should do the trick. On the other hand, if everybody has a lifestyle image, you can go in with a plain white background image, and that should be enough to do the opposite of them, which is exactly what you want to be doing. Same thing for the titles. If you see majority of your competitors have very long and very big titles with a lot of keywords, you come in with a small title that's to the point, and that's going to have a much greater impact than you just trying to copy them and do the same exact thing as everybody else, which is something we have seen work for a lot of the brands to handle under my agency. Which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, if you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But this now brings me to the third most important thing, which essentially Google prefers, and that is the Google Merchant Center optimization. optimization. Now, in this situation, it's all about making sure none of your products and your website as a whole against any policies, because the moment you start having policy violations within your brand is the moment your brand starts to struggle. Keep in mind, the policy side of things is what Google uses to determine if your brand is even worthy of selling on Google or not. So the lesser amounts of policy violations you have, obviously it's going to be better. But in addition to that, product violations. I see so many brands, even the ones I still handle to this day, where they're just disregarding product violations. They're not fixing up the real reasons behind the violation of that product. And they do this because maybe they're not selling that product anymore. It doesn't bring them sales anyways, etc. Whatever the reason is, the reality is, as long as that product is with the Google Merchant Center, it's going to negatively impact all your other products, because Google does not look at your product on an individual level. It looks at your account as a whole, and it's trying to understand if you're following policies or not on the account level as a whole. And in addition, what you want to absolutely make sure you're doing at all times is you want to make sure all of the necessary information is provided when it comes to the Google Merchant Center and the product side of things as well, especially things like the Google product categories, product key identifiers, in certain situations, the custom labels and custom identifiers, because this is a direct signal to Google's algorithm that, number one, you're following directions, but also it's a signal to the algorithm of who is the perfect audience for your products. And we finally ended up with data-driven changes. Now, in terms of data-driven changes, Google Ads loves brands which makes changes based on the data that's incoming. So that could be the campaign data. That could be in terms of product backend optimizations. It could be in terms of what new products you even add or which ones you subtract completely from your brand. All these things help the algorithm understand, number one, if your brand is serious or not within the Google Ads platform, but it also helps your brand get more similar customers, because it can now kind of link different products to each other, understand what the overall flow of products is or the overall flow of traffic is for your brand, and who to send more of within your website. All these things ultimately help scale the brand long term. You want to, again, test things first and then let the data tell you how much it can be scaled, if it can even be scaled or not. But when you combine all of these things, when you do all of these things, that's when you get the algorithm on your side. And that's the types of brands Google Ads even prefers. I know this because, again, we do this all the time for brands I handle under my agency, Your Marketing, which if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling to the next level with Google, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But check out this video right here of a brand which we scaled to multi-7 figures and now 8 figures using these 4 exact things.